Our focus are in 4 areas, and those are education, economic development, health, and immigration.
The main goal that we hope to accomplish is to have a good understanding of how legislation affects the well-being of Latinos in the state, and how, working with the community, we can bring information, stories, and evidence to legislators as to how important it is that all communities in the state benefit from having access to affordable health care, access to health services, and also have culturally competent services that can benefit the community, because we are a young population, and as a young population we are the future workforce of the state.
I would say proudly in the Latino community, we have the highest labor force participation rate in the state. However, unfortunately, that success in the workforce hasn't quite translated into stable earnings or household median income. So unfortunately, we have the 3rd lowest household median income. So all my policy priorities are trying to bridge that gap between a high labor force rate and a low household income.
Right now we're working on making sure that schools are inclusive and respectful and equitable for all communities, and specifically we're working on some bills to increase teachers of color and American Indian teachers in the state. We're also looking to provide greater support to cultural liaisons and community navigators, who also are an intricate part of attending the needs of students in our classrooms. Some of that work is also working to provide access to higher education for our teacher workforce, so trying to work with that lens in making sure that our schools are much more giving opportunities to more of our communities.
Immigration is a really emotional and important topic to the Latino community. It's probably the most important at this moment. I believe there's national polls that it is the most important. And I would say that the reason why it would be one of the most important here in the state of Minnesota is because out of our population, about half of our population, so 150,000 Latinos, are under the age of 24. A significant of them are under the age of 18. I believe that 90% of them are native born, and most of them have at least one parent that is an immigrant to Minnesota. So when I think of immigration, I think of it impacting not only immigrants, it's impacting folks who only know Minnesota. Therefore, it's impacting neighbors, it's impacting community members that you may or may not know that have a different immigration status than you, but are still contributing members to you. So addressing questions to legislators about immigration is a very important topic.
In this legislative session in 2018, one of our major projects is the Increased Teachers of Color Act of 2018, and a small supplementary funding bill that we're working on. And what this bill seeks to address is our state's severe shortage of teachers of color and American Indian teachers. As you know, we only have 4.2% of our teaching workforce out of 60,000 teachers are of color or American Indian. That's about 2,500 educators total of color or American Indian. Specifically for our community, there's only 629 Latino educators here in the state of Minnesota. When you compare that to about 72,000 Latino students in our schools, we have a lot of work to do.
So an example of our work with small business owners, last year there was in the percentage to jobs committee a small business day hearing. I thought it was a great opportunity to highlight a lot of our Latino business owners. So we were able to bring three Latino small business owners to talk about their both challenges and opportunities that they face. And then from that, we gained a lot of great partnerships.
Per our conversations with different Latino groups across the state, the main health disparity that we see is in the system and how to access health insurance. Latinos have the highest rate of health insurance compared to other communities, so this is one of them. And the problem is that when you don't have health insurance, or when you have barriers to understand and to navigate a very complex system as the U.S. healthcare system is, then we see that those also affect the health outcomes of our communities, which have to do with chronic diseases, diabetes, rates of obesity, and other health outcomes that really put our community behind.
One of my major goals as education liaison here at MCLA, and since I joined this team, is to continue making progress towards closing Minnesota's nation-leading achievement gaps. We have been talking about this conversation for, you could say, decades, and while we've made some progress, could we really call that progress when we still have one of the highest achievement gaps in the nation for Latino communities and other communities of color and American Indian communities? So one of my big dreams, right, is getting our community to get them to a point where they can have equal opportunities, equal outcomes, they can thrive and have more opportunities that come as a result of having access to an education system. So that's the big goal, is all of our communities are thriving for Minnesota.
My argument has always been is what is best for everyone in their district, including immigrants that are in every district of the state. And we'll keep in mind what is best for our community, and hope that our community can attend hearings and meet with legislators. But if that's not possible, we will be spending every day of session at the Capitol trying to make sure that we represent the voices of our community.